It was dark outside, with the flash of lightning occasionally illuminating the landscape. As the clock ticked past midnight, many residents of Barneveld, Wisconsin, were tucked away in their beds. Suddenly, the silence would be broken, as a bolt of lightning would strike a transformer, causing the town to lose power. The roar of thunder that preceded this bolt out of the blue would wake many of the townspeople from their slumber. As many people got up out of bed, they would begin to hear a roar. Was this a large truck passing through town? Or maybe a low-flying aircraft? The roar continued to get louder and louder. Before they could even begin to comprehend what was happening, the unthinkable. June 7th through to the 8th in 1984 would see a significant tornado outbreak take place over the Midwestern United States. Over a 12-hour period, 46 tornadoes would touch down, with the majority hitting Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. On the morning of Thursday, June the 7th, the unstable atmosphere, as well as wind shear and cape, produced a favorable environment for the development of extensive severe weather with possible tornadoes. As mid-afternoon would roll around, these storms continued to build, and several tornadoes were produced across southern Minnesota and northwestern and southern Iowa, including 3 F3s and a long-track F4, which traveled over 130 miles. The long-track F4 tornado would claim 3 lives before it eventually dissipated. A further person would lose their life when an F2 tornado struck Ringgold County in Iowa around 9 p.m. The tornado activity appeared to be weakening, specifically over Iowa and Minnesota, and many residents had begun to go to bed fearing the worst was over. Little did they know, the worst was yet to come. Severe weather had shifted east towards Wisconsin, where storms began to gain in strength under the cover of night. The supercell that had previously produced tornadoes in southeastern Iowa before dying off for several hours appeared to suddenly become supercharged. It would slowly cross the Wisconsin border at midnight near Dubuque, where it would quietly continue to gain strength. 3.5 hours after it had produced tornadoes in Iowa at 12:30 a.m., this newly charged storm would put another tornado on the ground. This would be a small F2 tornado that would cause mostly tree damage and small damage to rural houses as it traveled south of Belmont to east of Mineral Point before lifting about 15 miles from Barneveld. With the town of Barneveld now in the sights of the tornado, an absolute monster would touch down, an F5 tornado with winds upwards of 300 miles per hour. As the tornado traveled toward the town, a bolt of lightning and subsequent thunder would wake residents, as the town would lose power. It was thought that the loss of power affected the tornado siren, as it never rang once throughout the town. However, it was later discovered that the town never had a tornado siren. Because of this, many residents were caught completely unaware. At 12:41 a.m., the devastating F5 tornado would travel directly through the main street of Barneveld, causing the complete destruction of everything it touched. 9 people would lose their lives as a result of this tornado, with a 2-year-old being thrown a long distance from his house.
Trevor Simon, known by many as TJ, cannot remember the day. He was short of his 2nd birthday when the tornado killed his parents, Bruce and Jill, and his big sister, 8-year-old Cassie. A newspaper article after the disaster details Trevor's injuries. He was thrown 3 blocks from his family's home on Swiss Lane, then found along railroad tracks.
They found me and then they recognized me because, they knew my dad, they knew me.
The tornado was 1/4 mile wide at its peak and would ultimately take the lives of 9 people. It would cause a further 200 injuries and $25 million in damage, equivalent to $73 million in 2025. In total, all 3 churches, 93 homes, and 17 out of the 18 businesses in town, including the library, municipal building, fire station, bank, and post office, were all destroyed. The village's water tower, though damaged, was not toppled by the winds. The F5 damage occurred at a cul-de-sac on the northeast side of town, where a cluster of newly built homes were completely swept away at this location. Some of the debris, including paperwork, was later found about 135 miles away from the village. The National Weather Service in Madison reported the next day that the frequency of lightning flashes in the storm exceeded 200 per minute, creating a strobe-like effect. This was a historic tornado for many reasons. The Barneveld tornado became the most recent EF5 F5 tornado to touch down at night. It was also the only F5 rated storm in the United States in 1984, and the first to strike Wisconsin since the Colfax tornado killed 21 people in 1958. While many residents moved away due to the terrible memories that night, many still remain and pay tribute to those who lost their lives that fateful night. This clock, frozen in time as the tornado struck, is a historic piece that will stay in the town forever.
The time says 12:58.
Is the punch clock his staff used sitting in perfect condition.
And that clock was not destroyed, and it shows the time on it that the power went out that night, and it has never been plugged in since, nor will it be.
Now frozen in time, I'm told his punch clock serves as evidence of the night everything changed for him and his village.
It is probably one of the true facts as far as the time to when it actually happened.
Although those who remember that night do not need a clock to tell them what time everything changed.
And I store it in my closet here up on the top shelf to where it will be safe.
Wright says this is a piece of history he does not want to let go of.
And everything around it was destroyed, but that stayed on the shelf.
If you have a tornado that you would like us to cover, please let us know in the comments below. This tornado was suggested to us in a previous video, so you may just find yourself in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe for more rare and unheard of tornadoes. We loved having you here today, and we'll see you in the next video.